Sean Hoffman asks, should a compressor only be applied to the master track channel? Nope. That's the short answer. It can be applied wherever you think you need compression. Kind of the key to understanding where it should be applied and where you might need compression is thinking about what you want the compressor to do. If you want the compressor to act on a single channel, a single instrument, either to give it some sort of tone or character, or to very transparently control the dynamics, apply it as an insert to the individual track. If you want the compressor to act on a group of instruments where the dynamics of one or more instruments is going to affect the others, so it kind of makes it all move together, then you're going to want to have it on a bus. Not necessarily just on the master bus, you can have it on your drum bus, guitar bus. Any group of instruments that are being bused to a single channel is fair game to have a compressor. So it's just about understanding how the compressor is going to behave when it sees a single instrument versus when it sees multiple instruments. And what that's going to do, so let's take the example of a snare drum. If you've just got the snare drum channel and you've got this really fast transient peaky snare drum and you want to control it because you can't bring up the level enough without it clipping, put a compressor on that channel and set it so that it knocks down that peak and lets you bring up the body without the peak kind of clipping. So to do that, you'd want a fast attack time in order to get in, probably a very fast release to get out, high ratio, get in there, knock down a couple of dB of gain reduction, and that'll just let you bring the snare up. If we took that same approach, but the snare was part of a group of instruments, then every time, so to use the example of having the compressor only on the master bus, every time that snare hits or something else like the kick drum, it's going to pull down everything else with it. So if your vocals are going along, every snare hit that makes the compressor act, it's also going to pull down the vocals, the guitars, the synths, any other part of the mix that compressor is seeing. Because what a compressor sees will determine what it reacts to. So if it's just seeing an individual instrument, you can kind of get a little bit more heavy-handed on the individual instrument because there won't be any collateral damage on anything else. So if you really need to control a snare drum, you really need to control a kick drum, or a vocal is a great example. If you have a wildly dynamic vocal and you need to get it more even, more consistent, you would want the compressor acting just on that instrument. If you want to impart a sense of, I'm going to get into abstract territory here, but if you want to impart a sense of glue or cohesion or sort of a unified movement to a group of instruments, that's a perfect example of when you would have the compressor on either a sub bus or on the master bus. One quick note about having a compressor on a bus or a master bus or even on a bass heavy individual instrument. Low frequencies have a tendency to kind of overwhelm compressors because relative to the higher frequencies, they need a lot more energy for our ears to hear them as being even. So a lot of compressors have a sidechain filter, which, in its simplest form is just a high pass. You're just essentially cutting out the lows that the compressor sees. It's still acting on those lows, but those lows won't actually trigger the compression. Play around with that, move it as low as 60 hertz, 40 hertz, 60 hertz, all the way up to 200, 300 hertz, and listen to how that lets the low end kind of breathe and move in different ways when it's all hitting the compressor. Feel free to put a compressor wherever you want. If you look at my mixes, I've probably got a compressor on just about every channel, individual channels, buses, and on the master bus. But they're all trying to accomplish something different. So think about what you want the compressor to accomplish, and ultimately that's going to dictate where you're going to use it, when you're going to use it, and even what kind of compressor you're going to end up using. Hey everyone, I'm Al Easler, Senior Audio Engineer here at LANDR. If you like this video or any of the other videos on this channel, consider liking and subscribing. If you need help with your mix, leave a question or comment below, and either myself or one of our other audio engineers will answer it. Thanks for watching.